Okay, then in part 3, I'm going to take a little bit more of a pessimistic note, and I want to talk about my present concerns with AI as it stands today. And so this is definitely influenced based on my own use cases, but also just what I've seen, the technology, that's coming out in the past couple weeks. Number 1 is ideological bias in models, specifically political bias. I think we would all like a world where, the models, they're totally objective, but there is proof to the contrary. And I recently read a paper that Chat-GPT heavily favors Democratic viewpoints as opposed to Republican or conservative viewpoints. So you may be thinking, oh, sweet, yeah, cool, I'm a Democrat, this is awesome. Think again. Because if there is bias in the machines, that's good for nobody. And so just to be clear, the way it tests this, and you can always test it with this technique. Basically, like I mentioned before, you can create personas with an AI. Say, give me the answer like you would if you're a 50-year-old Republican. Give me an answer like you would if you're a 25-year-old Democrat. So basically, the way they tested this, they would ask specific political questions first, just by itself, without the persona. They would see that answer. And then they would ask the same question, but say, okay, give me your answer, but view it from the point of the Republican, view it from the point of a Democrat. And then that first answer, the generic one, they're able to see that, oh, the answer it gave, well, it's very close to the Democrat example, and it's not very close to the Republican example. So it's a very easy way to test that. It's hard to say if that'll change because clearly it's influenced by the people creating the code, but I think it's very important to just be mindful of it. To do like what I just said in that experiment, maybe just ask, hey, give me this moral or political answer, but give it to me from two sides. So again, it's like that devil's advocate tool. We may have to be the ones typing that out. It's not going to give us both sides. It's going to give us a biased answer, but we can avoid that bias by asking for multiple viewpoints. Now, related to ideological bias, and this is something I talked about quite a bit in the Off of This Head book, is I'm very concerned that, as of right now, there's this ideology of scientism, which in a word basically means, okay, the science that we've established today cannot be questioned. We can go forward and make new discoveries, but, we can't falsify the current science. And as an example of that, stuff related to climate change, a lot of times that does get locked in. And once the consensus is built, there's no questioning it again. But my real concern is when we bring AI into the equation. And I don't mean scientists using it for research. I think that's a great thing. But I mean more so when the layperson is asking ChatGPT, hey, what's blah, 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 what's the answer to this moral or political question? I don't think it'll be that blatant. But my concern is that we will rely on AI answers and hold it to a higher degree than we do a human answer. And for science, for math, that's a good thing. I don't see a problem with that. But when we talk about moral questions, political questions, it really does not matter how smart the thing is. So remember that. Science is not designed to make moral claims. AI should not be designed to make moral claims. Because, something like the trolley problem, where it's, do you flip the switch and kill one person or do you let 3 people die? Why would an AI be better at answering that than a human? The fact is, we know all the variables. It's not a complex question, but it is morally tricky, morally difficult. And so I think we need to avoid relying on AI to answer those types of questions.
If you enjoyed that clip, I just have 3 things I want you to do. The first thing is hit subscribe, follow the channel for new content. Second thing, go and watch the full episode. If you like this clip, you're probably going to enjoy what I talk about in the entire podcast. And the third thing, which I think is the most important, go and buy my new book, Off with His Head. It's on Amazon right now. Not only is it the best way to support this channel and the content I'm making, but I truly believe that it is a foundational book, something that can provide you existential security in an increasingly polarized and radicalized and chaotic world. This is a book of hope for people who are stuck living with a cynical worldview. We are living at a time where our rational mind is actually short-circuiting because of all the information overload we're receiving. We need more silence and stillness, not more information. Wisdom comes from the gap between thoughts, the gap between sounds, the gap between the news. And that is what I want to convey in this book. So if that sounds appealing to you, then go right now, click the Amazon link, go and buy that book. You will thank yourself later.